Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you very much for joining me here today. We're taking a look at Matic. Now this is your one-stop shop for cryptocurrency analysis among other things, so thank you very much for joining me here today. And when we're looking at Matic, we're going to look for best practice and of course, good entry point for you too, because the price is essentially increasing and we want to make sure that we are smart and savvy with our entry point and we don't get wrecked, right? That's the whole point here, so make sure you understand big picture how to be a more effective trader. Before we get started though, I'm not a financial advisor. This is for educational purposes only. I have years of trading experience, but always do your own research, okay? Just recommend that. Furthermore too, there's $25 in Bitcoin from Voyager, link in the description below, as well as my Patreon account if you'd like to show your support, and my Telegram community if you'd like to grow and learn everything you need to know about crypto. Really awesome community there. So without further ado, let's go ahead and just check it right out. All right, folks, let's go ahead and take a look at Matic. Now I covered this one recently, but I was asked to cover it again based on the recent price action here because obviously it's ramping up right now as we speak, and we want to make sure that we find a good entry point for you. And I always like to exercise caution in environments like this because it can be easy to buy into the hype. So the whole point of me wanting to cover this so quickly is just the simple fact that I think it's important to understand, to be careful, I guess, if that makes sense, because I see a lot of people get wrecked in this climate and it can be enticing to want to jump in when the price is hiking up, but if you are smart and calculated, you'll make an informed decision. So I'd like to help educate you on that, right? So let's go ahead and look at Bitcoin and Ethereum first, just to set a baseline, see what's going on in the market, because I always like to make sure that we understand how these are impacting each other, but also how they correlate too, right? But we'll look at that, of course. So first things first is Bitcoin. Now this is a 4-hour chart. By the way, I use Binance application. This is a desktop application on my PC, and the chart is TradingView. So as you can see up here on the top right, you can do original or TradingView. TradingView is essentially the one that I use. Now, as far as 4-hour chart is concerned on Bitcoin, I've got a lot of stuff here, so let's just keep it simple. I'll turn off the moving averages just so you can kind of see the support and resistance lines. Now there's a current support level at approximately 47,500. Never thought I'd ever say that, but that's roughly where we're at right now. And then the recent support that was broken and just completely destroyed was 53,300. Now support and resistance lines matter nothing when the market shifts the way that it did recently based on one person tweeting something. I think you all know what that is, but I can tell you that it's unfortunate that the market is so reliant on just that one person. I think that over time that will hopefully diminish and that will no longer be the case. But for now, that's what caused that to happen. So we had another short-term market crash, for lack of better terms. Everything's recovering now, and same with Bitcoin too. The price is right around 50,600, but the resistance line now that was a support is 53,300. And there's two other resistance levels as well. 57,000 was a major one for a while, and of course it topped out roughly 6 or 7 times at 59,500. So if and when the price comes up and holds support on these two, support levels in that range here, and it comes up and tests this 59,500 again, it will likely break and stay above because of the fact that that was tested so many times. At least that's the hope, right? But nonetheless, that's the overall sentiment, what's going on with Bitcoin. So again, try to remember that, and you probably already know this, but on the 12th, 5/12 at roughly 7 p.m., we saw the major market crash. It was over the course of 6 hours, I guess you could say, but we'll receive how that reflects on Matic later, okay? But that is just something to note. Moving on to Ethereum. Nothing much really to see here except for the fact that Ethereum was impacted by the Bitcoin sell-off recently. Obviously, we see that same pattern. And what's nice about Ethereum is it typically bounces back a lot quicker than Bitcoin because people sell their Bitcoin, move over to Ethereum, and because it's the second largest coin in the industry. So it's pretty normal for the price to recover significantly for Ethereum. So I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin consolidates, whereas Ethereum continues to progress upwards. Whenever Bitcoin has a state of indecision, then Ethereum has a tendency of taking off. You can see that back here when Bitcoin did its first ramp up and then consolidated. Bitcoin is literally in a consolidation phase this entire time, but Ethereum just went crazy. It almost increased by about 100%. Really good growth. So future reference, you see Bitcoin sell off again, perhaps consider taking entry in Ethereum, buying the dip. Ethereum and ADA are probably the two most reliable dips you could buy because they are fairly Bitcoin proof. And I'll explain what I mean by that another time. I'll cover ADA again soon. But why don't we focus more so on why we're here, right? So let's take a look at Matic. Now, I always look at the one-day chart first and then work my way down. So if you're new to the channel, 1 day, 4 hour, 15 minute, and then the 1 minute chart. And the reason why I do this is because I want to be able to identify movement like this, right? So you can't see this type of increase on a 4-hour chart or a 15-minute chart. Okay, so always do yourself a favor and look at Bitcoin first and look at the one-day chart second just to get a big perspective on what's going on. Because if we look at, again, it was the 12th. We look at the 12th here. This is Bitcoin sell-off. So I don't know if you can see that very well. Oddly enough, Matic closed green on that same day. Not a lot of coins can say that. But right here, this is the 12th. This is essentially what happened. This is the Bitcoin sell-off. Let me turn this and this off. Yeah, so this is a Bitcoin sell-off. So obviously Matic was ramping up, doing pretty well, working itself into kind of a bullish trend there, a wedge pattern. And then of course we see this happen here. It turned it around a little bit, lost its momentum, and now it's right back on track. So that tells me that the bulls are here to play and that the average price should be much higher than where it's at right now, which is a great sign. So it's doing really good right now. It obviously broke through this resistance level. So we'll take a closer look at that here soon, but great news is that's the case. RSI is over 70. I don't love that personally, but it makes sense considering the circumstance because it's been on a pretty steady, I guess you could say, bullish trend over the past few days. And the RSI being over 70 in this case in the one-day chart isn't a big deal. I don't put a lot of weight in it anyways. The 4-hour chart makes a lot more sense, and we'll look at that here in just a second. So let's see. Let's go to the 4-hour chart now. Yeah, I like this. So if you can see here, we are making higher highs and higher lows. So that does imply a bullish sentiment. And what's great about that is it's kind of, it's fairly well spread out. I don't love this price movement being so high so fast right now personally, but I can tell you that generally speaking, this is a nice trend. It is definitely a bullish trend. So we're just gonna move this guy here and kind of spread that out, see how this works over the next few days. But as you can kind of see, the price action is pretty continuous here, so it could work itself into a wedge pattern. We'll see. It's a little too early to tell, of course, but I like to throw that up there. We'll remove this previous support level at a roughly 94 cents, but we will leave this one here as a secondary support because that was the previous all-time high at 105. Let's extend that out. And let's look at some other indicators before we get to the 15-minute chart. So first of all, RSI is peaking up over 70. Commonly on the 4-hour chart, when you see the RSI up over 70, there is some type of retracement to be expected. It may not be significant. In fact, it's probably retracing right now, which is why we see the candlestick halfway up. But if you just note here, right, previous, I think this is when I covered it last, on the 12th, it bounced off its resistance level of $1.20. Is that $1.23? Yeah, so 123 was at time the current all-time high. Looking at the RSI, you can see it was a little over 70 and eventually retraced and came back down. Now bear in mind, this retracement was because of Bitcoin, right? So this little section right here is all Bitcoin. So there's a strong chance that the price would have continued upwards and continued to maybe progress to where it's at right now hadn't Bitcoin sold off. So that's a good sign, a good sentiment, because the fact that even though Bitcoin, yes, had something to do with this and there was a state of indecision, it shows that the price should be where it's at, if not higher, based on that alone. So I like that general understanding, that general sentiment there on the 4-hour chart. Again, really, the 4-hour chart is mostly just for perspective, or if you're only going to be a long-term swing trader, you're going to be holding for just say 1 to 12 months, somewhere in that range. And then you'd use the 4-hour chart to essentially take entry, but always recommend 15-minute chart to find the best entry point, regardless of what kind of swing trade you're doing. Okay. Now, if you're day trading, obviously we'll look at the 1-minute chart, but generally speaking, majority of us are short-term swing traders, and that's kind of the examples I like to set. But I will show you a good entry point on my 1-minute chart too in this climate. But let's go ahead and take a look first of all at the 15-minute. And see, we got to see the support resistance lines here. But before we do anything there, let's turn this on. So apologize if I'm a broken record if you're a current subscriber, but the volume weighted average price, I just like to explain this so anybody that's new to the channel understands what that means. Now, the volume weighted average price is the volume over the last 24 hours as an average price. In other words, it's expressed as an average price. So right now, based on the last 24 hours and the volume, we should see the price should technically be $1.21, but instead it's up at $1.45. Now, that's concerning to an extent because the fact that the RSI has been up over 70 for some time and it hasn't retraced yet. But furthermore, the difference in price, like the very top of the price, that was right around 25% different. So anything over 10 to 15% variance between the VWAP and the top of the price action is concerning, because the fact that the price should be $1.21 when it's actually upwards at one point, just about 5 or 10 minutes ago, at $1.51. So that $25 correction, that 25% difference, basically is just screaming the fact that the price is overextended, which is why it's likely selling off right now and coming back down. So again, on bull runs, this isn't always 100% accurate. In other words, when the price action has a significant variance, it could continue to progress upwards. It very well could. Do I feel like it will? No, because the fact that I want the price to actually consolidate right now. Because in order for this bull run to continue, we need the price action to have a chance to cool down. Because if you see the price go up too fast, too quickly with some other currencies like RLC, for example, I just covered this one. Look at this. The price action went up so quickly that it had to fall back down. It came back down really hard, right? So in order to avoid that, we want to see a nice smooth progression, right? So here's the one-day chart for Matic. It's better, and the reason why is because it has this period of consolidation in between, right? Which is why right now, even though it is overextended, yes, by 25%, do I think it'll retrace as hard as the others? No, it probably won't. It may retrace at best, maybe partway through down here to the range of 130, 140. But for right now, the bullish sentiment is essentially that. The bulls are in control. So again, it can be difficult to diagnose, but kind of looking at these charts here kind of helps you understand that. But just know that when you see this variance in price and the current, the RSI is over 70 on the 15-minute chart, it's just a matter of time before the price does come back down. And what I'm hoping for is for it to essentially do something like this right here, consolidate a little further, let the volume weighted average price catch up, and then go on another bullish run, right? So that's the hope. Will it happen? I don't know. But what we should do is identify some support and resistance levels. I think we already have, but let's just quickly zoom out and see what's going on. So obviously I showed you this little guy here. We'll just leave that because that does kind of tell us the general pattern. So if the price does just say retrace and come back down, it will likely continue to honor this this support level, this support line. I don't think the price will come back down to its previous all-time high of 106. I really feel like the average true range is close to where the price is at right now. Why don't we go ahead and extend out the most recent all-time high, because that will be our support level if something were to happen. So good news is support right now for Matic is approximately 123. So just kind of mentally note 123 is your safe spot, because that was a previous resistance tested 2 or 3 times and it broke and held above. And what's also nice too, and this is how you know it's confirmed as a support and resistance level, because this was a previous resistance, it broke through, which is normal. You can always see this type of trend in cryptocurrency where the price just breaks right through the resistance, and it tried to test it again. So if you see this little line here where it came back down and tested it, that tells us that the price was confirmed and it continued to go up. In other words, this previous resistance of 123 is now a strong support, and again, big surprise, the VWAP is closing in on that price right there. So again, pay attention. In my opinion, and this is just me being conservative, you can fault me for this at your own convenience, but I don't love taking entry on prices that are extended. I just think it's unfortunate. I mean, we saw it with Ethereum Classic, a handful of others too. Even BNB came way down, And it's just something to be mindful of, because if you take entry right now, your risk to reward ratio is significantly lower, right? In other words, you always want to have a risk management, and that is essentially a 2-to-1 ratio on everything you do. So if you're going to take entry right now, you want to ensure that your profit is doubled with only the potential of losing half that total potential profit. Okay, so what you do is you'd set a stop limit, somewhere down here, just say 140, and you'd prefer for the price to come up and test the all-time high of roughly 151. Again, that would be like a 2-to-1 ratio, if that makes sense. It's a poor example. I'll have other videos regarding this too, because I think risk management is the most undervalued quality in all traders in cryptocurrency. They just jump in with the hype train and try to jump out and either get wrecked or get lucky. And there's no point, no sentiment in that to really make you feel like you've done a job well done, right? The best way to do stuff in trading is to have a plan in place, okay? So again, I'll work with you on that, but generally try to remember you want a 2-to-1 ratio at all times, because it's just, say you're a 50% trader, every trade that you do, you're in the green 50% of the time. If you always have a 2-to-1 ratio, then you're going to be 66% profitable, right? So you're always going to have that extra edge, that extra portfolio growth, if you will, and that's how you can grow your portfolio by 1% or more per day. So again, that's just something that I always do. Please be cautious. And to me, the risk and reward, the ratio is too low. It's like a 1-to-1 maybe at best. Now, say the price comes up here and then it goes up to 160 or 170 and you get lucky. That's great. I hope that happens. But say, for example, you enter in right now and you hold and you hold and you hold, the price comes back down to 136 or 132, or you get in this desperation mode where, okay, I'll just wait for the support level to be tested and bounce off. It may never happen. You never truly know. Bitcoin could sell off and we could be all done. But I guess I'm just trying to get at here, be cautious, be careful, and when the price is overextended like this, wait for it to come down. At least let it test the EMA line. In fact, let's go ahead and take a look at that here. See how the EMA line is further away? Now, if you're not already familiar with the channel, you haven't watched my videos, or maybe you don't use the EMA line, instead of a moving average is based on days, the EMA is essentially based on hours. It's an exponential moving average, so it responds to the price action a lot quicker than a traditional moving average. So in that sense, I use the 15. So I use the EMA 15. Most of the defaults are going to be set to 9 or 20. I just split the difference and find the middle. And the reason why I do that is because it's less noise. It's just one thing I need to focus on, and it works well for me. It's worked very good over the past few years. So if you see that, so right, first of all, we already identified the volume weighted average price is roughly around $1.21. Okay, so there's a significant difference, over 25%. No wonder why the price is coming back down. The EMA line, furthermore, has been working as a support line, right? Now, as soon as this EMA line gets tested, like for example, you see it tested right here. Let me zoom in a little bit here. So you can see that this EMA line was tested right here. And it was rejected, and that's because there's bullish momentum and it kept going up. So why take entry right now when the price is coming down and trying to essentially establish itself when it's already overextended and over 70 on the RSI? Those are all things that are not working in your favor. In other words, to comfortably take entry at this point, sorry, one sec, what I would feel better doing is waiting for the price to at least test the EMA line and see how it responds. Okay, because as you can see back here, price is consistently testing EMA. Look at that, it was tested right there, rejected, continues up. Slight variance, but tested, rejected, and continues upwards. So that basically just tells us the bulls are essentially in control. Now, are the bulls losing control right now? It's hard to say. Price being overextended, RSI over 70, essentially oversold, correction, overbought. That tells us that the bulls are potentially losing some control, maybe not complete control, but it's okay for them to relinquish that and for us to consolidate, right? Because we want that big long-term growth. So, to me, when I see a price action like this and it coming back down, I actually get kind of happy. I want to wait for the support levels to be tested. So don't try to, play the odds and just kind of gamble with your money. It makes no sense. I'm going to mark this up here just for future, because that is the current all-time high of 152 almost, roughly 151. Because obviously if it continues to work itself into this channel, we see this longer channel here, the price could continue to consolidate, and maybe eventually around this point here is when we might see some price action either up or down. Again, once this price comes all the way up. So just for fun, I'll go ahead and pull this all the way up here. And this could very well be the next, the next thing. Right, so that could be the channel that it's working itself into. Yeah, it's more long-term, and I know it's, you're probably excited and you want to get in, you want to see this thing grow. If it doesn't, that's okay. Just know that. It's a very good thing if it doesn't grow this fast, because if it continues on this trend and it just keeps going through here, it will eventually break up and out and continue. And it'll be a comfortable, healthy growth instead of a violent up and down pattern that is hard to adjust, that really hurts. It hurts the soul, right? We've all been wrecked once in our life and we know what that feels like. So why do it again? Why put yourself in that position? Anyways, I prefer not to. Again, me being risk averse, I like to I like to swing the odds in my favor. My risk management is always 2 to 1. I prefer 3 to 1, but 2 to 1 is a great ratio. That's what keeps me in the green. That's why my wallet keeps growing. And I guarantee you will do the same thing if you have some type of risk management. Again, always shoot for a 2 to 1 ratio. But if nothing else, if you're planning to take entry here, I'd exercise caution, wait for it to consolidate a little further, and wait for the EMA line to be tested, okay? If nothing else, I prefer the VWAP line to be tested because look, again, it's up to 122 now. So as time progresses, it catches up, and because it's an average. Same with the EMA. So if all goes well, the price comes down, consolidates here, eventually intersects with the volume weighted average price, and then also you find the EMA line to be under. That might be a good consideration for an entry point. Again, always wait for confirmation. You want to see 2 solid green bars, which is essentially confirmation. And I'll just further that example if you not familiar with my channel. When I say 2 solid green bars, I'm referring to 2 green bars that close above the EMA line and or VWAP line. Preferably the EMA in this case, because you want to make sure that you have that confirmation. So just say that you see these 2 here. That would be confirmation because both green bars closed above the EMA line, and then the price continued upwards again. As you can see, it's continuing this trend a lot. Like there's 2 solid green bars here, price goes up. 2 solid green bars here. It's just something to look for, right? It's not an exact science, but you never chase the bottom, so don't buy in when it's red. Only buy in when it's green, right? Because then you know that the momentum is going in the direction you're heading. Okay. People constantly try to buy the dip, and it's frustrating to watch. I've done it before too, so I totally get it. You think it's a better value of buying the lowest price at the time, but unless you have, unless the price bounces off the EMA or the VWAP line, there's no confirmation. The bottom could literally keep going. You never truly know. And again, the price action is up here. It's considered overbought on the RSI, as you can see. Here, let's see. Show you this. Again, the RSI, see this? It's trending up over 70 for a while now. It calmed down a little bit, some slight retracement. Now it's up over 70 still. So I don't feel like that's a good entry point. Anyways, I hope this didn't cause more questions than answers. I hope that you did find benefit. If so, please feel free to comment below and let me know. I try my best to explain these things, but it's hard in such short times. So what I'm going to do, again, I'm going to have some training videos moving forward that really help understand, and we can dissect each of these in its entirety, so you can make more informed decisions. But just promise me you don't get bought into the hype. Matic's a really good position right now. It wouldn't be terrible to sell if you have a good position, and you see you got like an entry at $1 or somewhere in that range. Trim some off the top, take your 20%. Get your profits while you still can. Heaven forbid the price keeps going up and you miss out a little bit more. At least you're safe and you took the money while you could. Because I guarantee there's going to be a circumstance where the price reverses on you and you're going to be so happy that it did. And you took your profits, right? All right, anyways, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you very much. We'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you.